Every morning at the school, you could see her arrive. She stood 5'4" and man alive, broad at the shoulder and broad at the hip, and everybody knew she didn't take no lip. Michele. And always remember, there's no hell in Michele. Only one H. No, one L, excuse me. One L, yes. Oh, Michele. There's so many stories, 98% of which are impossible to tell in public, but we'll do our best. Anyway, let's get started with the program, and it's my honor and privilege to introduce the president of SUNY Plattsburgh, Dr. Alexander Enyedi, who will make some opening remarks. Alex?
All right, Bill, thanks so much for your kind introduction. And again, I appreciate to be able to kick off tonight's proceedings. So on behalf of Andrea Enyedi and myself, we want to welcome you to this very special celebration in honor of Dr. Michele Carpentier. It is wonderful to see you all here this evening. As we were mingling prior to dinner, it felt like we were at a huge family reunion. It's fabulous to see everyone here tonight. Michele has served SUNY Plattsburgh with distinction for 36 years. That service has resulted in her now achieving the status of campus icon. So congratulations, Michele. Unlike Kevin Bacon's 6 degrees of separation, every single person on this campus knows Michele and the profound impact she has had throughout her entire career. So thank you, Michele, for everything. But not to brag, but it's my job. Michele is also a 2-time SUNY Plattsburgh graduate. And so we're very, very proud that she is a member of the Cardinal Alumni family. So thank you for that, Michele, as well. So what can you expect? Tonight you will hear from several individuals who are very close to Michele, individuals whose lives have been profoundly impacted by her tireless work. This evening's speakers will reflect on the essence of what Michele is passionate about. Specifically, Michele, they're going to talk about the critical importance of TRIO, student support services, educational opportunity programs, and Michele's role in supporting and leading these programs for over 3 decades. But wait, there's more. The way Michele has personally assisted thousands of Cardinal graduates and how she has shaped our university's core value and Plattsburgh's reputation as the SUNY campus with the highest level of dedication to student success. No one else compares, and we owe that to you, Michele, so thank you very much. Tonight's speakers will inform us how Michele has served as a critical bridge between academic affairs and student affairs, bringing faculty and support service professionals together for the sole purpose of supporting students. Michele has impressed me like no other person I've encountered throughout my career. In fact, she impressed me so much that I felt compelled to create the Michele Carpentier Service Award for the fall of 2022 that would recognize a member of the SUNY Plattsburgh campus community who emulates her commitment to students and the way in which Michele goes above and beyond every single day to ensure that students achieve their educational dreams. So thank you, Michele, for allowing us to create that award in your name. So there's a quote by Aristotle that I truly believe describes Michele, and I'll read you the quote. "Excellence is never an accident. It is always the result of high intention, sincere effort, and intelligent execution. It represents the wise choice of many alternatives. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny." I'm a professor. I like to deconstruct things. So let's take a moment to analyze the 3 components of this statement and see if they apply to Michele. First, having high intention means you've defined what you want and are emotionally connected to it. It's having the awareness and commitment to do what's required to achieve your goal. This is the how to set goals part of the equation. We should set our goals with the highest intention of accomplishing them. Goals should always stretch you, and they should always just be out of your reach to allow you to push yourself. So I ask you, and this is the audience participation portion of the evening, does this sound like Michele? Is that the best you can do? My answer is a resounding yes as well, so yes. All right, next, let's consider sincere effort. This is the effort of work that's free from pretense, work that reflects what a person genuinely feels or believes, and the ability to deliver blunt honesty as an act of kindness. Does that sound like Michele?
Yes.
Now, now we're getting there. I agree. The answer is yes. And finally, intelligent execution. This is the ability to convert a plan into action. Ideas are great, plans are great, talk is cheap, but converting an idea and a plan into successful results is what really counts. Is this Michele?
Yes.
Yes. So, thank you, Michele, for your incredible impact you've had on this campus, and thank you for always emphasizing that choice and the choices that we make determine our destiny and our ability to change the world. Congratulations again, Michele. This is your night.
Next, we'll be hearing from someone from the class of '03, right out of the cranberry bogs of Massachusetts. Michael Cashman, alum of Plattsburgh, '03, currently serving, I might add, as the supervisor for the town of Plattsburgh. Michael?
You will notice I started walking up before Bill could say anything else. I encourage the other speakers to do the same. If we don't have this dinner, she can't retire. Let us exit. No. Let me say this right from the top. Dr. Michele Carpentier has had the most far-reaching impact of anyone here on campus. Her service, her dedication, her life's work for 36 years has spanned every single part of a student's collegiate experience. And I mean from pre-admissions to summer orientation, to onboarding students, to course advisement, to teaching classes, to preparing students for the next steps in their academic journey, or launching a career. Her students were student association leaders. We just saw Cardinal athletes, members of fraternity sorority life, resident lifers, star students, honor students, and from every academic program. She has also sat on more campus committees than any one person should be subjected to, from faculty senate to countless ad hoc committees. One of which I remember having served on her with was the Academic Support Services Committee, chaired by Peter Liguri, and it's so good to see Peter here tonight. Little did anyone know that Michele and I called this the Ass Committee. And we joked that the motto should be, we fill in the cracks of academia. And yet, while we had a good laugh, Michele was dogged about her advocacy for wraparound services for all students. She believed so much that she volunteered to be the emergency counselor on call several times a year. She would carry the pager, hold the briefcase, and respond to university police's calls for students in crisis. No matter the hour, she answered the call. For her entire career, Michele has been the chief advocate or ombudsperson for students. More pointedly, an unabashed lioness protecting students of this campus and willing to take on the good fight. As a first-generation student with dyslexia, my collegiate success was hard-won. And the keystone to my success was the TRIO Student Support Services program here at SUNY Plattsburgh. Most of you know this, but just in case, Student Support Services is a federally funded program and part of the TRIO family of programs. The mission is to serve students who meet one of three criteria, sometimes more, and they are first in their family to complete a 4-year college degree, they meet a federal standard of low income, or they have a disabling condition. And students must also evidence academic need. What I bet you don't know, though, is that of the 1,163 programs in the entire United States, Plattsburgh University is number 15. When I started my college journey, I was not just looking for a place to learn and to launch myself into a career, but I was looking for a home. During my search, I visited the university and met Michele, then program director for SSS. I knew that I found my place and my people, and she solidified that Plattsburgh was to be my only choice, literally the only school that I would apply for. When my admissions to SUNY Plattsburgh was uncertain due to dangerously SAT scores, she championed my cause and made the admission possible with Richard Higgins. This set forth a chain reaction. There was no escaping Michele's great expectations. Under Michele's direction, the SSS TRIO program model was equal parts challenge and support. It provided both structure and academic, social, emotional support, all of which were keystones to my success. I could not know then how profoundly her mentorship and how participation in TRIO would shape me. Undoubtedly, I do now. Having dyslexia, I was acutely aware of being the other. During my K through 12 education experience, I often was pulled out for resources. My high school teachers really minimized my needs, many even going so far as to dehumanize my worth. During my undergraduate studies, Michele helped me hone the craft of advocacy as a life skill. And as a result, I embraced dyslexia as a means to see things from a totally different perspective and not as a shortcoming. Overall, Michele bolstered my self-worth as she has done thousands of times over and has been an encouraging voice. Anyone that has known or seen her in action knows that she is unflinching in her championing of the underdog. And while attending a faculty town hall meeting with Michele when I was SA president, a professor, while addressing new admission standards considered for the college at the time, and this is a direct quote, "Finally, we won't have to deal with those students anymore." She was referring to TRIO students. And I will never forget locking eyes with Michele, and she was pissed. And so was I. The meeting concluded, and I remember following her back to her office. 20 minutes later, she had crafted one of her infamous memos to the campus, highlighting student support services and EOP's impact, which had higher than average retention rates in the campus, higher than average graduation rates in the campus, higher than average employment rates in the campus. Michele had the receipts. If you're going to pop off, if she was going to pop off, you damn well could take it to the bank that she knew what the hell she was talking about. Sadly, I witnessed on numerous occasions her needing to go to the mat for students targeted by bigoted and misguided members of this campus. And this is not to say that this is the bulk of our campus community. It's not. I want that to be clear. What I am saying, though, is that we are fortunate to have had Michele in our corner. Personally, I admire that she is not one to suffer fools or allow others to suffer because of them either. Michele was never demure in her approach and led by an unshakable moral compass. I often reflect on how she would teach people there's no hell in Michele and referencing the way that she would spell her name. Instead, she would save that hellfire for getting things done here on campus. Too many times, folks tried to dismiss her expertise, undervalue her contributions, but her unwavering dedication to her alma mater and her students is the very embodiment of what we call the Plattsburgh spirit. Michelle's motivation, her guiding force, has always been building on the proud past and the strong future through unprecedented dedication, sacrifice, and service. She showed up every damn day when it would have been easier to tap out. Oh, I would love to tell some stories, but I will keep myself somewhat in check. But I am going to say this. It is nice to see some of you converts in the room tonight. Because of Michele and SSS's unwavering support, I would go on to graduate in 4 years, being the first in my family to obtain a Bachelor of Science in Speech Communication. That undergraduate journey catapulted me into obtaining a master's in counseling, and during this time, I did a practicum in SSS, giving me more insight into the complexity of her work. By now, she was the director of special programs overseeing SSS, EOP, Upward Bound, and yet Michele never left the trenches. There was a banner on the wall of the SSS office, and it read, "Where students come first." This was a signal for this space, what the mantra was. But for Michele, it was her mission, and it has been her life's calling. Students would pop in all day, late into the evening, and even knock on her door if they saw her light on the weekend. Students had an unfettered access to a life coach, a cheerleader, a confidant, and also someone who would challenge you to get your shit together. Anyone who has ever visited Michele's office would be confronted with a desk that is overflowing with paperwork. At quick glance, one might wonder what the hell was going on, but upon further investigation, you would learn that that desk was the intersection of all things on campus. Various memos, grants, retention reports, and even individual curriculum that Michele helped to write so students could graduate. On her wall, read, still to this day, my favorite quote, "Paperwork is the embalming fluid of bureaucracy." The saying goes, if you want to get something done, ask a busy person. Well, that has always been Michele. She masterfully knew how to shepherd students through a chaotic journey. During orientation, she would remark, if you want to get something done, ask for the form. Want to drop a class? Ask for the form. Change majors? Ask for the form. Get a new roommate? Ask for the form. You get my point. When in doubt, there was always a form. Her mind has this talent for breaking down complex issues into manageable means of getting things done, all the while never losing her signature touch. An example of this was hundreds of her students would get birthday cards along with the SSS team. She simply is the most giving person I know. I have watched on numerous occasions where she would pull money out of her own pocket to give to students in need. Countless students received rides to the bus, and say nothing of numerous students who achieved their driver's license with Michele's car. It is my good fortune not only to be one of Michele's students, but one of her colleagues. For just over a decade, having this unique advantage point, I can confidently and unequivocally say, you are irreplaceable, Michele. But tonight, Michele, we honor you. And the truth is, for far too long, you have been the unsung hero of this campus. You bleed cardinal red, and you're one of the strongest. You are one of the strongest people I know. You have protected. You have cared for so many. Your name should be retired in the rafters of our campus, and every member of this campus should aspire to be a fraction of what you are and what you leave behind. There is no question that you have left and are leaving an indelible mark on the hearts of generations of students. TRIO's national slogan is TRIO Works. The fact is that TRIO works because people like you. I am indebted to your advocacy, your mentorship, your friendship. Thank you for everything. I love you.
Thank you, Michael. Michael, I wish you hadn't held back. I wish you could have told us how you really felt. Okay.
A page from Michele.
A page from Michele, yes. Next up is our retired Vice President for Student Enrollment and Student Success, class of, wow, last century, 1988. Brian Hartman. Brian?
Thank you, Bill. I don't know how to follow that, Michael. But, and as Dr. Enyedi mentioned, a lot of themes, a lot of similar themes in everyone's comments. Mine will be briefer, but Michele, I love you. I have deep admiration for you. I used to, when I became the vice president, I would have many meetings with Michele in her office. And the thing that stood out most to me was truly students were first. It didn't matter who was sitting in her office, including me. And if you know me, titles, I don't care about titles, but it doesn't matter who's sitting in her office. If there's a student need, the student comes first. And I got booted out of there numerous times, and that was okay. And I remember going home to my wife and saying, Michele and her team literally perform miracles every day on behalf of students and their success, getting over hurdles, getting to that finish line. And, again, repeat a few things, before, she manages the emergency grant now for students. Before that emergency grant, she was the emergency grant. And I'm sure many other people in this room went into their own pockets to help students. I know that happens. That is part of the caring nature of SUNY Plattsburgh. But Michele, the countless times, it boggled my mind how much of her paycheck literally went back to students to support them so that they could do what they needed to do to cross the line. She certainly embodied and mentored for many of us in this room, that caring, supportive environment, which we are known for, the Plattsburgh experience, and that connection. I know I relied on her, and I know many people in our division relied on her to understand the bigger picture, the academic and the support that is needed, because academics come first. And that's why students are here, to get that degree, to learn their curriculum and so forth. But it takes a lot of support for some students. And she was the go-to to help us understand the things outside of our division. How do we help that student? And she was that conduit who I certainly relied on for many years. I'm thrilled for Michele to be taking this next step. But as I think about some of the people she's hired through the years for different positions, but even today, the people that oversee the programs, SSS, EOP, accessibility resource services, the people that she mentored, they're in wonderful hands. We've got incredibly talented professionals in those departments doing the work that Michele does. And so I know our students are in great shape, and it all stems from Michele's guidance and leadership and mentorship. So there is no replacing Michele. They're just, will never. But the campus is in good hands, but that's also because of her. So thank you very much for all you did, Michele, and thank you for everything you did to support me through my journey here as well. Thank you.
I couldn't agree more, Brian, with what you said, because I think part of good leadership is being able to leave a legacy, and Michele has certainly done that. And she won't have to worry about what will happen when she's not here, because she's already seen to it with the folks she's hired and who are in place. So kudos for that. Next up is an alum from the class of 2013, Dr. Charles Sanchez, who will share with us a personal story. Charles.
Good evening, everybody. Hard act to follow on both counts, and I'll say from the start, they serve strong drinks, so I just gonna put that out there. I'm gonna tell a couple stories at the top, partly because I want the record straight on some of them. So I was an EOP student. I was accepted to SUNY Plattsburgh in 2009. If anybody is familiar with the EOP summer program, you come up for a month of pre-college experiences to prepare for your matriculation. The summer program is pretty intense. It's a busy 4 weeks, and I was in a position, I was coming from New York City. I took a Greyhound. There were lots of us on the Greyhound. The bus was late. It was kind of frantic, so to speak. The bus is late. We get off the bus. At the Greyhound station here at Plattsburgh, we get on 2 shuttles. Isaac Eschen, I don't know if he's here, and Ferris Thomas, they picked us up and they shuttle us to Sibley Hall to immediately take exams. Good time. We sit for the exams. We're taking 2 exams, a reading exam and a math exam. And the group of us that got off the bus were late, so the staff is trying to make sure we are moving along on the schedule. Get through the reading exam, great. I'm starting on the math exam, starting. Maybe about 10 minutes in. For some context, Michele, I love you. You know that. If you have heard Michele excited, sometimes it sounds like she's pissed. She raises her voice. So I'm taking this math exam and I hear, "Who's Charles Sanchez?" To be clear, I checked my memory with Cassie this morning and she confirmed it was a yell. Now, you have to understand, I felt really out of place. I didn't think I belonged here. I was thinking, well, it didn't take that long to get booted. That was pretty fast. But I was also concerned because I didn't have enough money to get back home either. Like, I don't have enough money for a bus ticket. And if you know Michele, she's happy to give you a bus ticket if you really want one. Michele was impressed with the score for my reading exam, but that was my introduction to Michele. So understand that I'm going into the rest of the summer, oh shit, I really want to stay on her good side. And it worked. It worked for the next 4 years. That's not the point. That's not the point. The point was that was my introduction to Michele. And I don't know that I've met many more people who give a shit about her students the way Michele does. I can't count the number of times that I was in her office because of academic reasons, personal reasons. I'm grateful for the opportunity that she gave me. This was the only place that accepted me, and I will always be grateful that you and Kyla took a chance and admitted me. for a portion, there was a period during undergrad where I was hospitalized, and folks would come to see me, and Michele was one of the people that was there every day. And when she couldn't be there in person, she was on the phone calling. And when she couldn't reach me by phone, or she was in meetings, she would send notes. Charles, even though I won't see you today, please know I am thinking of you and sending lots of crap. I've kept notes like this because Michele is one of the people that is, the people are why I feel like this place is home every time I come back. And to know that she gave a shit in the way that she did, she believes that the underdog student deserves support, always. And I think it's more important to recognize that she supports us even when we don't deserve it, when we've screwed up, when we don't listen, when we're giving her a hard time, when we've done something stupid. She will always have your back. It doesn't matter. She's gonna give you a kick in the ass if you need one. Happy to do that, but she always has your back. And I've been very fortunate to be given the chance to go to college for a very long time. And I try now in my work, I work in a research organization in DC, advancing federal and state priorities for college access programs like EOP, like SSS, because of Michele. I just want to be clear. I wish Kyla was here because I know she would express all of these things much more eloquently. But I will never forget all of the ways you supported me. I love you, Michele, and congratulations on your retirement. Thank you.
Thank you, Charles. Very, very nice. We have another personal story, and this one is from Lynette Cray, who has 2 degrees from Plattsburgh, a bachelor's degree in '07 and a graduate degree in '09. Lynette?
Hello, everybody. Beautiful people in the audience. Just came from Michele's office, so that should tell you I was in there all the time. Now that we got that out the way. I'm used to speaking in front of 5-year-olds all day, so looking at adults, this is pretty intimidating, so I'm gonna do the best I can. My wife told me stick to the script, so you'll see me looking down, sticking to the script. In life, you hope to impact at least one person in a way where they will remember the love, attention, and guidance that you have shown and poured into them. Miss Michele has been that for so many people, including myself. See, the connection for me began when I got accepted. The connection began when I got accepted into Plattsburgh, and I came to visit all the way from Buffalo. I truly did not know what to expect when I got here. And family is extremely important, and I prayed that I would find that in my time here. And I was in for a very huge and amazing surprise. Wanting that same family structure when you go away from home for the first time was a make or break for me. And then I get into the Student Support Services program, and an instant family was created for me, which was such a blessing. It gave me that instant feeling of security and support that I had been looking for. Also, being a member of the women's basketball team, it allowed me to have 2 instant family structures to help me be successful. I felt like the luckiest person in the world to have a super team of amazing women to support me. In every family, there's a matriarch, who's the boss, and Miss Michele is that for sure. She has her hands in everything and makes sure that whatever her babies needed, we got. Miss Michele was the auntie that offered love and support in a no-nonsense way, and we all needed that, for sure. She also gave the nurturing side when she would show up and support every single basketball game we had. Literally at every game. I cannot remember a game when she was not there. I tried to pinpoint one specific moment that defines our relationship, and I just kept coming back to how she shows up, which is a common theme for everybody's speech so far. She just shows up for her babies all the time, even when we're being very naughty and making poor choices. When you have a powerhouse such as Miss Michele in your corner, you worry a lot less. You know that in the grand scheme of things, she will make sure that you are okay. And for young college students, especially for myself, this means the world to us, and our parents, of course. Miss Michele and Miss Delia, who was as my road dog, supported me through very tough times in college, even when I thought this wasn't the place for me. I had them and they had my back. When I was in the summer going to grad school, she made sure I had a job with the EOP program. Isaac knows we caused a lot of havoc that summer. I was actually working and probably caused more trouble than the babies that came on campus. She also hired me at the SSS office to help and support in any way with other students on campus, which was really cool, and I got to grow closer to Miss Betty Ann, which is a blessing. Currently, she checks on me and many other alumni students just to make sure that we're okay, and also gives a lot of love to our families. She was invited to my wedding, my baby shower. She would be invited to every big event my family ever has in life because she means so much to me, and my wife and my daughter, and also is a representative for Miss Delia and Miss Kyla, who are angels in all of our lives. There are some people you have in your life for a season, and some that stay around for a reason. She is a perfect example of someone that you keep in your life for a reason. I appreciate her now just as much as I did then when I was a student here. She is a staple in my life journey, and I am eternally grateful for her. I just want to say that I thank you for helping to guide me through one of the most pivotal moments in my life. And now that you have devoted so much of your life to guiding and supporting so many students, parents, and staff, please enjoy this new chapter in your life and engulf yourself in your retirement. If you are anything like my mom, she went and got a tattoo. She travels, and she babysits when she wants. If you need some advice, I will give you her number. She will be glad to walk you through this process. I'm sure I can speak for many other people in this room when I say myself and so many others are here to support you in the way that you need, just like you did for us. Thank you again for being a blessing in my life and so many others as well. I truly love you so much. So thank you.
Thank you, Lynette. Thank you. Very touching. Our last personal story comes from a gentleman from the class of 1998, Andre Robinson. Andre? And it says 98, and maybe you can explain all this, Andre, but it says 98, MSN, RN, ACNP, BC, 98. That's quite a list of alphabetical.
Good evening, everyone. So when Ann asked me to come up and say some words for you, Michele, I was excited, humbled, because you touch so many lives. And I was determined to get here. And when I thought about what I was going to say, I thought about a poem that kind of encapsulates, I think, the sentiment of why you're great, and it speaks to the type of relationship that we have. And I wanted to share it with everyone. It's called Isn't It Strange? Isn't it strange that princes and kings and clowns that caper on sawdust wings and common people like you and me, we are the builders of eternity. To each is given a bag of tools and a book of rules, and each must make his life complete, a stumbling block, or stepping stone. Now, Michele, we love you, I appreciate you, and I appreciate you, not only for all the things you did in my life, but for all the people that you touched. It's because of you that, the world becomes better. Your impact is far-reaching. And you in particular have seen my journey. All right, you witnessed the ups, the downs, the not so great moments, the triumphant ones, and the common theme is, through it all, you always had my back. Now, just to give you guys a little background and to clear up some of those abbreviations. So I graduated in SUNY Plattsburgh in 1998 with a Bachelor's of Science in Nursing. I went back to school years later, and I went to the University of Medicine and Dentistry of New Jersey to get my master's in nursing for nurse practitioner with a specialty in acute care. I'm currently, I have dual appointments. I'm a clinical instructor in the nursing program for Columbia University for their graduate program for their adult acute care program. And primarily, I work at New York Presbyterian Hospital in their cardiothoracic surgical intensive care unit as an acute care nurse practitioner. So the ACNP is acute care nurse practitioner. All right. So my story is not that unique, but I wanted to share with you guys just to kind of help you understand our journey together. But it started 30 years ago when I came here as a freshman. And I came here as a student athlete. I came here also with basketball. I was recruited by Larry Cowan. And I lived at the time in the South Bronx, the projects. Nothing wrong with that. But just to give you a little background, my mom, she was single. She raised both me and my sister. We lived maybe like a 400 square foot apartment. Her income was minimal. I think I remember when we were applying for school here, she put down maybe like $9,000 for the year. So I came in through the EOP program, and Michele, who was Michele Little at the time, was the director of the SSS program. Now, we all loved Michele. We all loved her. It didn't matter what program you were from, what background, ethnicity. You could always walk into the office, the office at the time was across from the Burger Den. Walk through, you see Betty. And it was like a home away from home for all of us. And then for basketball, she was there all the time, right? I was a fan of hers, and I think she was a fan also of the basketball program. So that's how we introduced and kind of met. And going back to the poem, stumbling blocks. I don't even know if I can call my first semester here a stumbling block. I like fell right into a black hole. I actually failed right out of school. Failed right out. I had to appeal to get back in. I had to go on academic probation. But not only that, the basketball program, we come back early during the winter break before school starts back up because there's games, there's practices. So when I got back that spring semester, Coach Cowan pulls me into his office and says, hey, listen, I have some bad news for you. I'm going to have to bench you for the rest of the season. You can't play. I said, what? I said, yeah, I'm sorry. I can't let you play. And that hurt. You know, part of coming here for me was defining myself as a basketball player. So not able to play, that hurt. So here's where Michele comes in. My second semester, the fall, 94, I was well supported. Michele, EOP, and I went from flunking out to making the dean's list the next semester, which is amazing. And this may seem little, but it's big for me because when I think back, I think about this moment. You recognize that. You didn't have to, but you gave me a certificate acknowledging that achievement. And you didn't have to. EOP, SSS, we were together, but you didn't have to. And I remember that because that was a pivotal moment for me here. Being well supported, it gave me a drive to want to succeed. And moving on, I wanted to also help people who were in similar circumstances. So I became a tutor counselor for the EOP program for 2 summers. I was a resident assistant at Adirondack Hall for a year. I continued to play basketball for 4 years. I was the captain for junior and senior year. I got inducted into the Omicron Delta Kappa Leadership Honor Society. And then just before leaving the nursing program, I also got inducted into the Sigma Theta Tau Nursing Honor Society. And I'm bringing these things up because this is a testament of what Michele does for us. When you're well supported and somebody has your back, this is powerful. It's very powerful. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you because the person who I am today and what I'm doing, you saw that same person 30 years ago. And that's powerful. You saw me beyond the failures. And I just want to thank you for always being there to support me. So in the poem, to each is given a bag of tools and a book of rules. And I thought about it. So at my job, I come across different situations, sometimes emergent, not emergent, but I have to come up with a game plan. And if I prescribe a medication or a treatment modality, there's a rhyme and reason for it. It's not just a random choice. It's a choice that's driven by research, scientific evidence. What it does is it makes the choice reasonable, right? And the patients don't understand that, but for me, I'm trying to deliver the best possible outcome. So if I extrapolate this reasoning to what you do, Michele, to the amazing dynamics, your beautiful soul brings to light how important your role has been here. You provide these tools, you decode these rules, and you make them into working solutions for us. You use your knowledge, your experience, some science, and you deliver the best outcomes for your students. And what makes it even more special is that she does this with a large dose of love. You know, a lot of people don't have access to those tools and they don't understand the book of rules, and it becomes a stumbling block. So that's why, you know, Michele is so important. And as a father, 2 boys who, you know, wants the best for my boys, when I think about what you have done, it's amazing. I'm just even so more grateful for that, because as a parent, you want to see a kid succeed and to know that they have somebody who supports and has your back. That's really powerful. So I wanted to talk about your legacy, right? Because it doesn't stop here. I know you're retiring, but I believe it's about accountability, right? Knowing that when we step out into the world, we're not only representing ourselves as individuals, we're representing your collective efforts through the years. So when I see opportunities, just the way, you know, you did during your years here, to inspire or help people using the tools and rules that I know, I'm going to try my best. I'm not going to let you down, Michele. All right? I love you. Congratulations on your retirement. It's a job well done. And when you have time, I want you to come down and visit me, Martina, and the boys. You could sit back and talk, laugh. And while you're there, now that you're retired and have time off, I may ask you to be a babysitter for me. Thanks, Michele. I love you.
Thank you, Andre. Very, very nice. And now we will close where we began. So I'd like to ask Dr. Enyedi to come back to the lectern and make some closing remarks. Alex?
Well, hello again, and I just need to say thank you to Michael, to Brian, to Charles, Lynette, and Andre. Did I warn you about the tissues? Yeah, it all came true. So we have a little bit of fun and surprise now to proceed with. So first I'd like to ask New York State Assemblyman Billy Jones, who represents the 115th District, to the lectern to make a special presentation. Billy, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Enyedi, and I can't tell you what an honor it is to be a part of this celebration tonight. I know there's a lot of tears, but I will have to say, Michele, we have you to blame for Mr. Cashman. Like, really? I've been looking for the person all these years, and you're the one. Of course, I'm just joking, and those were some wonderful words tonight, Michael. And I will say to Dr. Enyedi, your marketing team, you've been wasting a lot of money. Because if you were to send out some of those testimonials tonight and to hear those stories that these people have told about Michele tonight, that's all you need. Because I know as a parent, you want your child, when you're sending them off, and I will make sure, you can't retire because I want to send my daughter here now. I know as a parent, when you send your child off to college, and I'll soon experience that, as many of us will, you want them to be in an environment where the students are first. You'll have people there that will always have their back. Kick them in the ass when they need it, but make sure that they are always the focal point of any campus. And Michele, if there's anybody here with a 10th of those attributes, my daughter will be coming to Plattsburgh. Yours. So thank you very much for everything, and like I said, it's an honor to be a part of this and hear all the stories. But we do have a New York State Assembly citation here, and if I can see it, I will read it. New York State Assembly citation, whereas a great state is only as great as those individuals who give exemplary service to their community, whether through participation in voluntary programs, through unique achievement in their profession or other endeavors, or simply through a lifetime of good service. Whereas Dr. Michele Carpentier has served SUNY Plattsburgh students with energy, passion, and determination for the past 36 years. And whereas a North Country native, Michele earned both her bachelor's in home economics education and her master's in marriage and family counseling. Don't we all need that? And from SUNY Plattsburgh before completing her doctorate in education at the University of Vermont. Whereas Michele started her career in SUNY Plattsburgh as a graduate assistant in 1987 and quickly moved through the ranks, serving as the interim director and director of student support services, and eventually becoming the assistant vice president for student affairs and director for special programs. Whereas an active member of the North Country, Michele has dedicated her time and expertise to numerous organizations, including the North Country Trio Directors and the Association for Equity and Excellence in Education and the Educational Opportunity Program. Now therefore be it resolved that I, as a duly elected member of the New York State Assembly, recognize that in Michele Carpentier, she be commended for her 36 years of service to the SUNY Plattsburgh community. In Michele Carpentier, we have an individual who is certainly worthy of the esteem of the great state of New York. Thank you for everything that you've done for our community. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Billy, for the citation, and thank you for all you do to support this university as well. This has been an extraordinary evening in celebration of an extraordinary person. Thank you, Michele, for just being you, and for always putting SUNY Plattsburgh students first. And Billy, I appreciate the marketing advice. I'll go off script for a second today because I can't help myself. Don't worry, Andrea. This morning, we met with the Plattsburgh Alumni Association. There was a question that came up that said, what makes this place so special? It wasn't quite asked that way, but what is your niche? And I would say now, can you wait about 7 hours and come to the event this evening? You will hear what makes SUNY Plattsburgh the incredibly special place that it is. I feel the same passion that you have, Michele, for the students, and I think that we're in good hands. So I think thank you for all you've done for the campus. I'm back to script, Andrea. You can relax. Now, Michele, we will honor your request not to speak during this evening's program. In fact, no one in the room would be surprised knowing Michele for her selfless service to others. In fact, Michele initially refused to participate in anything that remotely resembled a retirement celebration. But she did agree to do this dinner banquet with one requirement. The gathering could only take place if and only if this celebration benefited her kids, the students that Michele has served selflessly and mentored all the students who will benefit in the future from her named scholarship program. So here's my pitch. For those of you who have already made a gift to this fund, to the Michele Carpentier Endowed Scholarship, thank you. And for those of you who are about to, thank you. Please visit the Plattsburgh, www.plattsburgh.edu website and go to the little button that says Donate Now. And you know what to do after that. So as we close out tonight's program, we have one more special gift to Michele. I told you there was two things, so just bear with me for a moment. As you might recognize, a basketball jersey with the appropriate number 1 in honor of Michele Carpentier. Congratulations, Michele. Now, at the very bottom of the frame are a few words. For those of you in the back of the room, I'm going to do you a favor. This is what those words say. Presented to Michele Carpentier, class of 77, graduate of 87, in recognition of your positive influence on thousands of students and their ability to achieve their degree. You are a champion for student success and an inspiration to all who are fortunate to know and have worked with you. Heartfelt thanks for your 36 years of dedicated service to SUNY Plattsburgh students and alumni, dated May 12th, 2023. Congratulations, Michele.
Needless to say, I wish everyone a safe trip home. But Michele, I would just share with you a quote that came to mind as I was sitting there. And I think of it often because you and I share some things in common. But the quote is, "Those odds and ends of memory are the only wealth that the rush of time leaves to us. We are our memory." And Michele, you have one hell of a memory from this evening. That's all I can say. Thanks, folks.